Namaste Ji. For my YouTube viewers, this video is going to be a little different as I'm making this for my philosophy class. And today you will get to hear a Western philosopher as well. So let's get ready to explore the question. Should we believe in miracles? In almost all religions, miracles have been and still are being used to increase popularity and credibility of their particular religion and sect. Today, we will hear the views of two famous philosophers on this topic. So let's start with our Western philosopher, David Hume. David Hume was a Scottish philosopher from the 1700s. Uh, whether he was an atheist or a theist is a matter of debate based on what I have read so far. I think he was an atheist. Let's see what he has to say about miracles. I'm reading from his book, An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding. Let's see what he says. A weaker evidence can never destroy a stronger. He starts off by setting off his base premise, which is a very logical one. A wise man therefore proportions his belief to the evidence. In all cases, we must balance the opposite experiments, where they are opposite, and deduct the smaller number from the greater, in order to know the exact force of the superior evidence. This was his rational, kind of mathematical argument against miracles, of weighing both sides and picking the side which has more weight to it. Miracle is a violation of the laws of nature. And as a firm and unalterable experience has established these laws, the proof against a miracle from the very nature of the fact is as entire as any argument from experience can possibly be imagined. Basing off the first two statements, Hume here argues that miracles are always against the laws of nature, and there will be always more evidence against miracles compared to the evidence for them. So he's basically sealing off any room for arguments here. These were just a few of many arguments Hume presents in his book. Now, this was an atheistic view on miracles, so obviously it's going to be critical because Hume didn't believe in a God in the first place. Now, this is the perfect time for us to move on to our next philosopher, who was a very strong theist, and it would be interesting to see his thoughts on miracles. I'm talking about Rishi Dayanand Saraswati Ji. Rishi Dayanand Saraswati Ji is the most influential Vedic philosopher of the recent times. He was born in colonial India in 1824, always questioned the contemporary Hindu beliefs. He eventually left his home, finding answers to his questions. During his journey of finding the truth, he met many different people of many different faiths, not just of Hinduism, but of other religions like Christianity and Islam as well. He eventually concluded that the Vedas are the ultimate truth and became the most influential Vedic philosopher, speaker, and visionary of his time. Due to his work, he made many enemies and was assassinated in 1883. Unlike Hume, he didn't specifically write about miracles, but his thoughts can be seen in one of his debates with an Islamic scholar, which took place in 1877. I'm translating and reading from the book Dayanand Shastrat Prashnottar Sangraha. Just so you know, whenever Dayanand talks about the past, he's talking about the past claims of miracles which are being advocated by the Islamic scholar. Listening, speaking, and writing are of two types, true and false. Now, what is the proof that whatever is written, said, and heard about the miracles is true? Just as the cause is identified by looking at the action, similarly, a miracle happened. What is the evidence to prove it? Here, Rishi is skeptical about miracles and asking his adversary for any proof of any miracle that happened in the past. And how do we know if it's true? Perhaps whatever was written, said, or heard was done false, because just as a selfish person now serves his purpose by misleading others with false words, similar was the case in the past as well. Here, Rishi Dayanand says that people are selfish, and to serve their own purpose, they can mislead others. And then he gives a real life example for this. Just as there have been 2 or 4 miraculous incarnations in this time too. Dev Mamlada claims that he had stayed in heaven for 7 days, now returned and claims to tell everyone whatever God has ordered him. Now millions of people come and touch his feet, that his feet are swollen. Now just as how this thing is a lie, it must have been in the past as well. This is a very good example when people try to get famous by simply lying. And Rishi claims that this must have been the same in the past as well. God would not go against his nature to do a miracle. He is just and full of knowledge. and would never go against his own nature. The example of this is the whole world. Like today, a human is born to a human, not an animal. Rishi here is arguing that God first would not go against his own nature and then would not break the laws of nature, which is kind of similar to Hume's argument. And even God's powers have some limits. Like he can die, he can become ignorant, he can do bad things because he is just and immortal. Here's a very interesting thing Rishi says. God can do everything either. He's also bound in the rules of nature. So he can do a miracle even if he wanted to, because that would be breaking the laws of nature, and God doesn't break laws. These were some brief views of both philosophers. One thing I would like to point out here is that Rishi, despite being a very strong theist, argues against miracles. This is because rationality comes first in Vedic philosophy. There's no room for irrational beliefs in the Vedic Petra. I really like these philosophers' thoughts and agree with them. There can never be true evidence for miracles. Even if we think that something we saw is a miracle, it is more than likely that there is a scientific explanation to it. Maybe not today, but in the future, for sure. God would never go against his own nature to break any laws and perform a miracle. Thank you all for watching. You can like if you want, you can subscribe if you wish. I hope you have a great day. Namaste.